everyone. Jess Stanbrook here with the Invisible Disabilities Association, and we are having another discussion in the Love Ideas Summit. I am here with Alli Webb and Adrian Koehler, and thanks for joining me, guys. It's good to see you here.
Good to see you too,
Jess. For having us.
Thank you.
So my first question really is, and people will find out as we get into this discussion, you were married before, had other families. How did you meet?
Well, we met through a company called the 3-Day Rule, which is actually a matchmaking service, which, sounds kind of crazy, but I was divorced a little over a year. Adrian had been divorced almost 3 years. And for me, I was on the apps and trying other ways to meet someone, and it wasn't working out super well. And I wasn't connecting with men who were like exactly what I wanted. Keep a long story short. And I actually interviewed the founder of the 3-Day Rule on my podcast, Raising the Bar. And she was kind of telling me about how this business that she runs, and she just always had a lot of luck setting people up and it really working and sticking. So I thought, well, that seems like an interesting idea. So I signed up, and then they brought me Adrian.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's very funny.
Long story short, it's a longer story, but yeah, do you want to tell them how you ended up entangled in the 3-Day Rule?
Very similar. I mean, I've been dating a bunch as a single guy and trying to figure out what I wanted the next season of life and figuring out who I was and doing all the natural reinvention that divorce gives you the opportunity to do. And I've been dating non-seriously, and then things kind of shifted. And soon after that, I got hit up by 3-Day Rule to be involved in, their matchmaking. And soon they connected me to Alli. And I didn't know who she was at the time, the Alli Webb.
You didn't even know what Dry Bar was, did you?
Did not know. Had never heard of it. Had never seen it. Had never whatever. But if you type in Alli into Instagram, you are the number one. And
wow.
I was like,
oh, so funny.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
So that Alli.
That Alli. Oh, wow. Okay. And then we, got connected, and then had on the next night, I think. The next night we had a phone conversation that lasted 3 or 4 hours.
Into the wee hours.
One of those like we were teenagers type conversation. And we're like, okay, we've got a live wire here. Let's see what's here. Then you were out of town, and then had a first date, 3 days later.
Adrian picked me up at the airport because we were kind of dying to see each other. I had been in New York and then San Francisco, and he picked me up at the airport, took my luggage, and put it in the trunk. I know, the rest is kind of history. So
yeah, that was
or the future. Right?
Yeah,
you're right.
That's right.
So that was almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, that's a really great story. It's funny. We just had a conversation, Phoenix Jackson and a bunch of her friends talking about, oh my goodness, how do you date in COVID? Like, this is so bizarre. And yet I think you guys it's that perfect match of how online connections can work in this time and difficulty. Well, I'm actually going to back into some things because, Adrian, kind of like you, of like, oh my goodness, that Alli, I do want to hear some stuff. I mean, oh my goodness, author, podcaster, Shark. The list goes on and on. How would you, like, if you were to introduce yourself in an elevator pitch, what does that look like?
Gosh, I haven't had to do an elevator pitch in quite some time. Well, I would say that I founded this company, Dry Bar, over 10 years ago, not knowing it would turn into the phenomenon it has. In that time, I founded it with my brother, Michael Landau, and my ex-husband, Cameron Webb. And, none of us knew it was going to turn into the craziness that it has. We have 150 locations, 4,000 stylists across the country. It's, it took us kind of all by surprise. We all found ourselves on this rocket ship, and, just had to keep going and building this business. So it's been like, such a labor of love and such an amazing journey for all of us. And now at this point in my life, I'm, pursuing other projects. I invest in a lot of businesses. We've started another massage brand called Squeeze, which is unfortunately closed at the moment, but hopefully opening soon again, which was open about a year before COVID. So it really took off. And then I have other projects, like personal projects in the works. Like I'm writing my second book. I have a couple TV shows that are slowed down also because of everything that's going on. But yeah, I'm just kind of testing the waters on lots of different projects. Adrian and I are doing what was my podcast with my brother, Raising the Bar. Now we're doing together, which is a little more like interpersonal relationships and the brains of inside the brains of founders. So that's fun. So yeah, lots of fun projects going on, trying to make the most out of this crazy world that we're living in now.
That's funny. Well, thanks. I mean, and Adrian, I hate to make you the person of the partner of Alli, but my
No,
goodness,
I get it. You're wise to make such an assertion.
it's kind of straight up. When I watched some of your podcasts, it was very funny because, there's these conversations, you're going back and forth. I mean, what do I know about you? Well, let's see. You don't watch chick flicks. And right. And Alli likes to be taken care of and she's a strong woman. Dude, what, like, holy cow, right? What do you do with that? How do you manage that?
So I'm guessing you're referring to like during, I don't think before, just during COVID, we decided to start, doing these Instagram lives, which we ended up calling Fight for Love.
We haven't done them in a while. We haven't
done one, in a couple weeks. Which was mostly, I don't know why we started doing it. I think we started doing it just because maybe we were bored.
Well, I think because we both have a lot to say. And we wanted to be really transparent, I guess, because I think a lot of my followers, like people who've watched the whole thing unfold with me with the divorce and going through a really hard time, I was somewhat transparent with that. So I think people have now watched me find love again, and now the blended families and all of the the good and the bad that comes along with that. So I think we felt kind of compelled because I get so much feedback from people that they like knowing more about that, understanding that, because it's something everyone's kind of dealing with in one way or another. And so I think we kind of wanted to talk and be transparent about our relationship because a lot of people aren't. So I think we felt like it was a space we could really get into. And
and one of the convictions for me that I'm concerned about culturally is the level of cynicism about love and cynicism about relationships. I think that's part of what naturally comes with an online dating process now. It's it feels like shopping. I'm on Amazon flipping through and looking at reviews, saying I'm swiping right or left. And, so and most of that kind of transactional nature of, am I going to get what I want? Who's going to meet my needs? That natural type of thinking that comes with shopping. There's nothing there. There's nothing there that'll last through any kind of hard times because, you're not meeting my needs. I'll go on to the next one. And, so we ended up calling it Fight for Love, partially because we were, we'd been together for 5 or 6 months. Yeah. COVID happened and we immediately quarantined together very naturally, didn't really have a conversation about it, just did it very naturally. And then we were together a lot. And so a lot of the issues started bubbling up naturally that weren't there when we were kind of going back and forth and having neither one of us do things casually really at all, but we were calling it maybe a casual relationship, but if you know us, we're not that casual. But the ability to generate the type of conversation that's needed to get through something, is a worthy exploration for everyone. We wanted, for both of us coming out of our previous relationships with really nice people, there was something missing there. And we wanted to get a hold of what was missing them from us, right? So how do I need to shift in order to be the next version of myself that can sustain the type of relationship I want with Alli, and how can she do the same, right? So in order to do that, it becomes a practice of learning how to illuminate issues and deal with the self and deal with all the complexities that come into relationships. So how do you fight for it? How do you fight for love instead of just believe that love happens and we're passengers of a train of love, which is, not as powerful and eventually not as meaningful of something, instead of something actually being in a relationship that that you've co-created and protected.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful stuff. I got to say the Fight for Love, what a great title. And, this thing to hang over your door, right? But it seems like you're the faces of hope in that space. No, really. The conversations that you're having and the fact that you're transparent about it allows people to kind of walk through the tough stuff and go, hey, one, it's not easy. And two, it takes work. but it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
no, that's
Well,
really
and I
cool.
think that I've learned a lot from Adrian about, because he's a coach and coaches like founders and CEOs, and he's just done so much work on himself, way more than I did, and very evolved. It's like I had this very like romantic view of what things should be, and it's like it's all like, I mean, that's just kind of who I am, where everything is like, like a love story and a scene in a movie. And so when things
Chick
aren't like
flick,
that, it's
right?
like, what's that?
It's the chick flick. It all
Yeah,
happens right
exactly.
there, right?
And when
The
things
roller
aren't going
coaster.
along, you're like, well, it's over. It's not working, and so it's been good. The whole fight for love is really like, if you, and it still gets me like, oh, like we're just gonna keep fighting and keep going for this, even though things aren't exactly how I want them to be right now, and that like perseverance, I guess, has been really, I don't know, enlightening, I guess, in the context of this relationship, that I think I just kind of would, in my previous relationships, just kind of like resign and give up and just like, well, this is just how things are, versus, if you're with Adrian, you don't get to stop there. It's like everything is a conversation.
I'm very annoying in that way, Jess. Yeah, but
That's
it's
a good
worth.
thing.
I mean, so part of what just gets me jazzed about, and all of my work that I do with leaders, is it's never work that I'm just dealing with out there. It's usually something that I'm dealing with or dealt with, or it comes from a place of need for me usually. And the place of need for this is, learning how to fight for someone versus fight against someone. Like, prepositions matter in my world. Those are the distinction in those prepositions is the ball game. But also like fighting my old self, right? And that comes up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Even as of 7 hours ago, like fighting again, whenever I'm in a battle, like my fight for love in the relationship is actually, I got to battle me first. I got to like make sure the future oriented Adrian is alive and present versus the past oriented Adrian that just doesn't want to get hurt or doesn't want to be left or doesn't want to be misunderstood or any of the other historical tragedies or what some people would call traumatic events. And I could be focused on that, but I want to put that guy to rest and care about him. But I want to be future oriented Adrian, which is a whole different set of concerns and a whole different way of talking about things than if I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose, like playing to win versus playing not to lose in a relationship seems to set up, really potentially powerful conversations and whole different type of listening. Like if I want to be connected to you beyond anything else, then I'll listen to you very differently than if I want to wait and prove my point.
Yeah, that happened this morning.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you're just
so this is in real time, so
yeah, right. So I don't want to know 7 hours ago, man. You guys,
it's real. By the way, most of the fight for love, anybody's watching now, if they want to go look at the Instagrams, look at Alli's or mine. We would usually debrief like recent, like in the last few hours or the day before of a squabble we were in. We just talk about it in real time. Wow. And just deal with it as hopes to hopefully give people some hope that, oh, hey, everybody struggles. That's kind of the ball game for a human. We're going to struggle. If we're after something meaningful, it's going to feel like struggle.
Yeah. I remember Adrian saying to me early on in our relationship, like, we're probably going to fight a lot. And I remember thinking, like, that's such a weird thing to say. I don't want to fight. Like, what? And then I realized.
Nice to meet you. We're going to do what?
Yeah,
we're probably going to fight a lot.
Yeah, it really like took me back. And then I was like, oh, he's right. We get into it a lot. Things just pop up a lot. But he always says this, it's like our ability to move past them quicker and quicker is also part of like the growth in a relationship, which I think we've gotten better at. Mm-hmm. Where my tendency is to like retreat, which I think a lot of women do. It's like we go quiet and cold, and that's a great defense mechanism. I'm trying to not do that as much anymore. And then when we have something, like we talk about it and deal with it, and before, it festers and becomes much, much bigger.
Yeah, no, that's some interesting stuff too. It's interesting you said where, the women kind of get quiet and go away. And men are the fix-it people, right? They step into it, which could be good or bad, depends on what's going on. And yeah, so there's some interesting stuff around that. Well, so a question for you. One, it sounds like both strong personalities. I mean, we do it with our kids too. I mean, we quote unquote fight, argue, whatever in the context of where our kids are, because they need to know that there's also the other side of it. It's not just the bad side and the understanding of how to deal with it. It's the what happens after. Like, how do you come back to we love each other, and yet that was just a disagreement about X, and there's no winners or losers. Fine. I mean, you know, so what's that look like in the context of how you guys are sorting through things?
Yeah, the question is like when and where and how, and do we have like parameters about how we squabble?
I think well, and understanding you're a blended family also.
Sure.
How does that work with kids around? Or I don't know the ages of your kids. You can share if you want. You don't have to. But obviously there's usually a place and a safety net, if you will, for what are the ground rules, right?
Yeah.
What are the ground rules?
Well, you know, it has shifted. Lots of things have shifted over the last 6 months or however long COVID's been in. You know, partially because we've been under one roof, or roof, as you like to say. You know, I've got younger kids, Allie's got older kids. So it's funny, sometimes I want to err in the relationship, I want to err towards let's deal with it. Which, you know, even historically for me, I could be like, it'll be fine. I'll, you know, do not, you know, I'll wait. Yeah. Which is, you know, apathy is a great avoidance technique, or indifference. So I want to deal with things. So sometimes we'll get into it and the kids are around. And even one of my kids will say, I can hear you. Which is, you know, I mean, this is an experiment. I think all of us have some kind of family of origin template that we were handed, right? About how things work and when fights happen, if they happen at all, if they don't happen at all, what tone people take on, do they get loud? Do they throw things, not throw things? So it's a constant experiment for us about, you know, how to talk about things. And even, I mean, not withholding, but suspending a conversation is actually an art as well. Like, hey, this is a big deal. We want to talk about this. Let's suspend it, hold on to it, and then we'll get to it later, which takes some faith to do that.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting. It is a whole new kind of, it's, you know, for me, my kids are 13 and 15, and I was married for 16 years. So, you know, and the kids, the ages that Adrian's kids are, you know, he's had, I hope it's okay for me to say this, but like, you know, he's never had, he was divorced before his kids were like old enough to understand, you know, people talking, and they were babies when he got divorced. So, he never had, in his time with his children, he's never had like an active partner with him. So what's interesting about us and our situation is like, you know, I had that, you know, we only divorced 2 years ago. So, you know, up until the age of like, you know, 10 or 12 and, you know, 14, my kids we're all one family, and they saw my ex-husband and I fight a lot. And I definitely said and did things that I regret in front of my children. I think I had this like stance that my kids should know that like couples fight and that's okay. I probably took it too far, because I wasn't able to suspend, like you were talking about, I wasn't able to suspend that, like, because I have a tendency, like, I am so mad I have to talk about it right now. So for me, it's really hard to table it until later. I wasn't very good at that, but I think that was a learning for me, and it's fascinating.
What was it? Can I ask a question in real time? Was it that you weren't good at it, or it wasn't as big of a value for you?
What do you mean value?
Sure. Was it that you didn't know how to, or it seemed like expressing yourself in the moment was more important than waiting?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we didn't have like the kind of like coping skills that you and I have, you know. It wasn't like I knew if we didn't talk about this now, we were definitely going to talk about it later.
Sure.
So I think I felt this like urgency to like talk it out, and coupled with the fact that I thought like it's good for kids to understand that mommy and daddy fight and that we're still together. But, you know, but what I wasn't like allowing for was the fact that like it really, things under the surface weren't good, you know, and in this relationship things are, And I'm also, I mean, I guess it's also different because his kids aren't my kids. It's like, we were just talking about this the other day. Like, I can't just like let it all hang out and say anything I want to say because they're my kids. They're not my kids. So there's an added level of like, oh, I should probably be a little cautious because, you know, their mom is going to hear what I say. And it's just like, it's a whole other can of worms when you're dealing with other
Sure.
kids and the things that happen with us and then how they perceive them and all of that. So
Yeah.
It's been a really interesting lesson in like patience for me, which isn't, you know, my strongest quality.
Well,
Most natural, not your most natural.
No, it's natural,
which works really well for all of the other things that you've accomplished. I mean, yes,
Right.
there's this balance, right?
Our strengths are our weaknesses, yes.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, our business personalities have a completely different look than our home person. I mean, it kind of cracks me up because, you know, I'm the boss, I'm the executive producer, I'm the director, I'm the this, I'm the that, and I come home and I still get told that the garbage has to go out. Like, like I've been doing nothing all day, you know what I mean? Directing these big crews and managing.
Doesn't she know your job description?
Yeah, doesn't she know how important you are?
Dude, you're home. Get the garbage out of here. So it's kind of funny. Well,
yeah, I mean, we talk about that a lot. That like, you know, the fact that I'm, you know, so high energy and highly focused and get things done and don't have time to like deal with just like go. It has worked really well for me career wise. It doesn't work quite as well at home.
Yeah. Well, I learned that because I have 3 daughters, right? And you know, when you're on the set or doing something, I mean, it's like here's the thing, get it done, right? You know, I see my friends who have boys, and you know, they're like, don't do that. They stick them in the corner, give them a little swat, you know, and you know, okay, and it's over. Well, if I said that to one of my daughters, it'd be like, you hurt my feelings. And, you know, 3 hours later, I'm still in this conversation, like going, seriously?
That sounds like a girl.
Yeah, but you learn a lot from it. I mean, the interesting side of then the empathy and all of the other stuff that goes along with it. So, well, I mean, shucks, I feel like I'm in your show. This is really fun. Just listening in as an audience member, you guys have some great tips and stuff. I was going to say, so this lockdown has happened. You made the choice to come together, which I think is awesome. What have you learned in the midst of that? You know, hard, good, whatever. And I'll say tips that are shareable of, you know, where you've either taken a step, like how have you served the other to get through this and to grow your relationship?
I'll let you answer that.
Well, so if I try to reflect back, I mean, first off, it's an ever evolving conversation, right? So, you know, the relationship's always just happening now. At least that's what I want, how I want to see it, and how I want, you know, us to see it. It's like, you know, this is the moment we're in, right? So however we're treating each other now is all we got. So that's part of it. And I mean, I think part of the challenge, I mean, what's invisible is the amount of stress and the amount of change and the amount of disruption and the amount of extra coordination that's needed and the amount of chaos and all those. There are things contextually that's happening globally for us and as a country for us and on all of our media channels, and even just the shift of schedule. You know, everything's now, you know, it was a blank slate or new as of a few months ago. And, you know, how any of us as individuals are dealing with complexity, you know, that's a crapshoot, even, you know, for either one of us, right? So the first thing I think from a principal perspective and what works when I choose to employ it or when she chooses to employ it is, you know, letting somebody have the right to their own experience. Whatever's happening for them right now is just what's here. And if I love them, I'll be with them where they are now. And do I have the courage enough to connect with what's going on for them and listen to them? And a lot of times that will be contrary to what I naturally expect of them or what I'd like, even outside of my natural preferences about how I want her to be or how she wants me to be. Because, you know, we're all having a very complex situation right now. So I think on our best days, we do that and we listen to each other. I mean, there's a lot of adapting that's happened on both of our fronts in these last, you know, few months together in COVID. You know, as we've like fully moved in together, like our melding of schedules has really fully happened. And we've got some distinctions about what we like and what time we like to get up and how late do we stay up and what do we, and, if we want it to work, there's a sense of self that must be preserved. Like I need to keep being the type of me that I like being. Otherwise I'm going to be miserable, and then I'll spew that on everybody else. But then there's a sense of self that's up for being adaptable, right? Because part of myself happens with her, right? So if I'm going to listen to her and then decide really what about her preferences am I willing to adopt and try on, really experiment. So for example, it's, she enjoys a slower morning and a snugglier morning and a different than me. I like jumping out of bed and rock and roll and let's get, that's what feels good to me. And, so it's a balance between those two things. Or it's like if I'm in the office and locked in, I like to be locked in, sealed off, doors shut. I'm in here for 6 hours. I don't see anybody, talk to anybody else. That doesn't set the evening up well for us. So I've learned to, I've got 15 minutes. I can get back to these text messages or emails, or I can go find Alli and say, hey, how you doing? And check in and do that kind of thing, which I don't do all the time, but as I'm aware of it, I try to be I call it being impulsively good inside my own head. So anytime I have a thoughtful, sweet idea, do it. And hopefully those happen more and more over time. So that's because, it's hard. So cutting yourself some slack is something we also do because it's really hard. I think to be a human right now, it's just upended and it's challenging. And some of those are known and almost all of them are universal. So cutting yourself some slack and then for cutting the other person some slack. If you do that, you have a whole net of empathy and love and
I think one of the things that like we're missing, everyone's missing in this time is like, if you're living with your husband or wife or significant other, like we are, is that you don't actually have that space, we don't, and we've talked about that a lot. I think what was it, Esther Perel, that we read that book and we were like, before COVID, and it was like, when you go away from each other for hours and you work and you do your thing and then you come back together, you have so much to talk about and you're excited to see each other. It's like that shit's gone, like that's just not happening now. So, and when we've talked about that, I'm like, oh yeah. And, and so it's good, so I remind myself of that like, even though we're under the same roof and it would be nice to go and like have a couple moments together, it's also, I think, important that we don't, that to Adrian's point, that he stays locked in and does his thing for a long time. And then we come back together towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's a weird balance. Like you were saying, I think everybody feels this way. It's like, well, that you're just like a couple feet away from your person. And so it's interesting. I think also with us, it's like, as opposed to people who've been, who are watching this, have been married a long time or together a long time. I mean, we're just under a year of being together. So, it's like really excited to see each other still. I don't know if that's how it is for everybody else. I know for me in my marriage, it's like you're together 16 years. You're kind of like, well, I'll see you when I see you, and I think it's different. But, I also don't want to lose that and keep that alive. And I think that separation is kind of necessary for that, so, but like, even just today, Adrian I was downstairs in the kitchen working and Adrian came down just to say hi. And I thought he came down to like make coffee or something. And I was like, oh, did you just come down just to say hi? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's nice, and then, so that stuff feels good. And to your point, goes a long way in just the overall relationship. So I agree. If you're thinking about doing something sweet, do it.
Well, it's kind of, if you set the relationship up and what you're going to get, you're going to be in trouble. If you set the relationship up for an opportunity to give, then you're in good shape. So if you're set, we talk about a lot, the GHG principle, which is like, ways to live by, like grateful, honest, and generous. Like, so if I'm those three things, it's going to be a pretty good day. So and can I choose to want what I have? Can I be grateful? Can I want what's here? Even when we're fighting, can I want to be here? Can I want to work through this with you? Gratefulness is always an option. Can I be honest? Can I be transparent about what's going on for me? Or even transparent about not knowing what's going on for me. Hey, I'm confused. Hey, I'm upset and I don't know why. Hey, I'm just, I'm overwhelmed by everything and I don't even want to talk to you. That's part of being honest, because that's not about them. It's about what I'm doing. And then can we be generous? So if we can wear those three filters or wear those three hats or take on those stances or inhabit those ideas, usually things work out, you know, because when there's nothing like that kind of stonewalling, as Gottman talks about, or that cold warfare we've all been in. And if your listeners have been in a relationship, you know what the Cold War feels like. You know, and the generosity is the way through it, is the way through the Cold War. You know, if you're polarized, who's going to be the first one to come in and say, hey, I don't like how this feels. Do you? Because usually when you're disconnected, the disconnection is the next connection point.
I just had a really good idea for a book for you.
Tell me.
I think that you should put out like, not even a book, but like you're so good at like coming up with like a phrase or something you can say to open up, you know, a conversation. And I always ask you and then I always forget. But it would be really helpful if there was like a little book of like I can't think of the words, but like end your fight starter words.
Conflict starters? Is that a conversation starters?
Like, well, but
the next step starters. Yeah,
because it's like the things that you always say, like what you just said, it's like, oh, that's what I should have said, you know, but it doesn't even occur to me. Those words don't even like enter my sphere of like, let me start the conversation with these words. It's why I always ask you, but for some reason they don't stay in my brain. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But I think it would be an interesting book.
I'm aware. It's not like a news flash.
Well, because I think a lot of people would benefit from like, here's a strong way to go to your partner and say, I feel like this, and it's like disarming versus this like, you know, you're a for the way you treated me last night. I mean, that doesn't bode well, you know. But that's, I think, what most people think. Or like I you know, I feel like every time I open up something that I'm upset about, I never do it in a way that like puts you in like a position of like warmth and wanting to like, I mean, you do it because you're you, but I think that like it's hard to break into that conversation when it's going to be a difficult one.
Well, it's hard to drop your pride and your ego and get out of fight mode of I'm right, and move into, I mean, the thing that I say to my wife when we've had a fight, I said, the hardest part about it is when I've had this fight and I feel bad, I want to go talk to my best friend. Oh, but that's who I just had the fight with. How do I do that? And so literally I drop everything and go, I need to talk to my best friend. Is she available? and it changes the picture to go,
that's great.
I just had this horrible fight with my wife. And so we break this plane in a weird way.
Cool. Yeah.
It is cool because it's how do you get yourself out of yourself?
Sure.
Right? Long enough to say, if it cannot be about me and it can be about us, we can actually change this thing. And I'm so sorry, right? Like, I don't know what it was, but like, can we get past it to whatever is next? You know, and hopefully deal with it. Yeah.
I was just thinking this morning and posted something on Instagram about it. And the catchy slash not flattering title I used was the phrase was, the aim is the game, which is this point, which is whatever the purpose of the communication is frames the rest of the communication. Right. So if I'm bringing up this upset in order to get through it, to be connected with you, I talk about it very distinctly. If I'm bringing it up an upset so that you're wrong and I'm right, or you're bad and I'm good, or you're broken and I'm fine.
I think that's what I do.
At times, not always. At times. But that's like the normal human thing, right? I call in my work, the universal human paradigm is something's wrong, bad, or broken with me, you, or it. That's like the brain. The brain is doing that math without our permission. It is gravity for our central nervous system. So how do you see it when it's happening so you don't have to be it when it's happening? That's the other cheesy rhyming. But that's the way I think about it. If I can see what's happening for me, I don't actually have to inhabit those thoughts. I can choose something else, which is what you do. I think it's brilliant to say, hey, is my best friend available? Because I really love her. I don't like the wife now, but do you guys have different outfits for that, or how's that work?
No, we haven't figured that out. I mean, I do it with my kids too. I'm like, man, I love you, but I really don't like you.
Yeah.
Right now. And we got to figure this out, man.
Because
this in the context, especially in the COVID thing. I mean, all of our college kids came home, which was awesome.
For a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it was really awesome. Love family dinners. But
Sure.
again, there's this whole freedom that they've experienced and created. And so life is their own. And now being stuck in this confine with mom and dad was really
Yep.
hard. And of course we have rules, and we're pretty diligent about our house rules are our house rules. I don't care where, I mean, they are that for everybody. I mean, if a famous person came to stay at our house, we still don't let them smoke marijuana. We still don't let them vape. I'm sorry, that's just who we are.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
yeah, there's a lot
I
of
get
things
it.
like that. So anyway,
It's really good. I dig that. And I love that level of honesty with your kids, right? Because you're hard on the problem and soft on the person. Like, hey, what's happening is a problem for me. I love you. What you're doing is a problem for me. Let's talk about that. I think that's really powerful to make that distinction, because it's like, it's temporal, and it's like, it's in this moment. I don't feel good, and I don't like because you said I don't like you in the moment. What you really mean is what you're doing and how you're being, I don't like. And all of us know that when our significant other or a child is being a maniac, and I just want to, do something mean to them. Yeah, exactly.
not allowed to do that anymore, but yeah.
I know. Yeah. I grew up with both my parents were school teachers. So, we got some discipline.
Dude, I think I have
so,
your kid, like,
Is that a ruler?
oh yeah, baby. Catholic school, right?
Catholic school. Yeah. So, but I think that's really powerful. I like that you roll that way.
Well, I want to say, yeah, it's fun talking to you guys. I mean, Adrian, I don't know what you do, dude, but whatever you do, it's awesome. If you're leading leaders with this kind of advice, and I know Alli needs a book out of you now. That's what I heard.
Don't
There's a
you think that's a
powerful.
good idea? It's like,
Oh
it's
my
just hidden.
gosh,
Like
it's
there's
great
all these,
stuff.
like, it's like thought starters,
Yeah.
Dude,
conversation
we should
starters,
get
something like
together.
that.
We'll powwow together. We got a lot of good stuff, and we could
Yeah.
co-op or something.
I've got a framework out there. If people go to frustratedfounder.com, it's got a free framework on how to jump into some of these contentious moments. And I offer it to business leaders, but it's a useful paradigm for anybody that wants to get something done, even if it's to have a peaceful home or to have a restored relationship with somebody else that you really are attached to and love and are committed to, but there's something in the way. So they can check it out there if they're interested. But
That's
anyway,
awesome.
thanks.
Well, I'll make sure that there's a graphic up there. That'll be fun. And I mean, it kind of feels like we're coming to the end of our conversation. Alli, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, probably the best way is through Instagram. It's just Alli Webb, ALLIWEBB, which I'm sure you'll put on the screen somewhere. That's, I'm pretty active on my Instagram, and I do control it myself. So I try to respond to as much stuff as I can and put up kind of what I have going on with projects and what things. And there's contact information in my bio and all that good stuff. So that's probably the best way to get me.
Cool. Well, thanks. Let's see. You have a book. You said you have a new book coming out.
Well, I'm working on it.
Oh, gotcha.
So that'll be, we'll see how long that takes. I would say probably at some point in 2021, it'll come out, kind of a memoir of like my whole story from being a little girl to starting this business to like the evolution and exploration and finding love again and all that good stuff. So yeah, it
Very
should be
cool.
an interesting cathartic process for me anyways.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
let's see. So how about, to wrap it up, any like final tips in the fight for love conquest here for the people that are tuning in?
I don't know. I mean, I think like communication, don't shut down, talk about things. I think that's something that I'm still like kind of learning every day is to open up. Cause I think my kind of setting, my natural setting, what's the word I'm looking for? Like my default setting, thank you, is to just go quiet and cold and just power through. And I'm learning every day that that's not the way to do it. And it doesn't really get you very far. And it's a lonely road. So yeah, especially now.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I'll speak to, I don't know if I'll speak to the guys, probably some of the women as well. What I'm learning is I don't have to go it alone. I can ask for help, and I can just say, hey, I'm not doing very well. I mean, sometimes my default setting is to kind of be caretaker guy, or be upbeat guy or be future oriented guy. And I'm not feeling that way all the time. I can turn it on for the sake of my work, but I mean, she's a witness to my whole self and pretty constant, right? So she is connected to me when I'm not wanting to be here, when I don't even want, I don't even like myself very much, let alone anybody else. So usually what's needed then is for me just to say, hey, I'm not doing very well. And that's usually really enough to generate the type of connection and lets her know that it's not about her. I'm not mad at her. I'm not upset about something about life. I'm just not, I usually joke, but it's not a joke. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of Adrians in my head. I don't know which one I'm going to wake up with in the morning. And I got to deal with whoever it is, the anxious one, the aggressive one, the passive one, whichever one, the one that's out here to prove something. So, like putting language that really asking for, I know this, I always need more help than I want. So willingness to ask for help usually generates a lot of connection between us. So, and I don't have to have all the answers.
That's a good one to end on. I think the willingness to ask for help, especially in this time, or the willingness to ask for space.
Yeah,
because right. we are kind of clunked together. I got some things to have around our house because I know not everybody's always in a happy mood. So, but sometimes you just need to pass by people and let it go.
I love that.
And it seemed to help because, people could get, and you went, I don't care what it looks like behind. That's fine. You need space. That's wonderful. And then I went a little bit crazy to say, well, let's have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I want to be around my wife and I don't want the kids around.
Hello. Oh, hey, yo.
So anyway, fun stuff.
That's great.
Well, guys,
thanks. Good to meet you. Yeah. Thanks for this. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, great
love hearing your honesty in talking about this. So thanks for joining us. And I think a lot of people will benefit from it in the midst of kind of things that are going on. So and we'll get them connected for some more of your podcasts because there's a lot of great stuff going on in there too about just being real and thanks for being that way.
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Right. Appreciate it.
Good deal, man. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Thanks, Jess.
All right, bye.